So I had a dream last night. It's kind of a nightmare. I'm making this presentation to all of you, and in my dream, I'm Bill Clinton. Right? And there he is. Well, first of all, let me say this. Al Gore, Tipper, Hillary, and I, we used to campaign through Grand Rapids on a bus. But I'm going to say this one more time, and I'm not going to say it again. I have never had a relationship with anyone from Leadership Grand Rapids. I told you it was a nightmare. 1981, I'm going to school at Grand Valley State Colleges, and I'm enrolled at William James College at Grand Valley State Colleges. And I've got a plan. I'm going to be in the media, and I'm going to be a camera guy, and I'm going to be a sound guy, and I'm going to write speeches. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the world from that end. And then I decided I was taking some classes in the business school. And that's where I met E. Dawson Fisher, Duke Fisher. He died in 2008. But he was a prof there, and he was so cool. We loved him. He spent 26 years at J.L. Hudson in Detroit as a vice president of sales, and he's just got this phenomenal record. You can Google E. Dawson Fisher and read about him. But he was so cool. And we loved him because he was a great teacher, but he was also a lot of fun. He'd be teaching, and he'd be writing his points on the chalkboard. It's 1981. Right? And he kind of had this swag. He was a big guy, and he wore these really nice suits. And he kind of had this swagger sometimes, especially when he was getting ready to make a really good point. And he'd be, and they were all over the place. And then he'd stop, and so he'd end up with all this chalk all over the back of his, right? And he'd go, "Watch out for these guys, these people too." And he would start to drool, right? So the corners of his chin, the sides of his chin, would start to glisten, and so he'd be, "Watch out for these people." One night after class, he said, "Can you meet me in my office tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock? I said, "Okay." So we met in his office, and he had a paper that I had written. And he said, "Did you write this?" "Yeah, I wrote that." "Okay. What are you doing in William James College?" "Well, I'm going to be in the media." And I told him about my plan to be a sound guy and to be a camera guy and to write speeches, and I'm going to change the world, and that's what I'm going to do. "Did you write this?" "Yeah, I wrote that." "Well, this is special. I think you're in the wrong school. I think you should be studying advertising, public relations, and marketing. Did you write this?" "Yeah, I wrote that." "It's my opinion that you're in the wrong school. I think you ought to be studying something else." He said, "You want to be in front of the camera. You want to be not running the sound, but in front of the microphone. You don't want to be writing the speeches. You want to be delivering them. You wrote this, right?" "Yeah, I wrote it." "I think you're in the wrong school." So I stood up and I said, "I'll think about it." And then I left that building and I ran as fast as I could to the admissions office, and I changed the course of my life forever. Leaders. We know everyone has something special about them. Everyone. We know that people have gifts. We know their talents. So when you know those things about them, tell them. Tell them. Thanks.